Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
Anger is an emotion that a lot of us sometimes don't really know how to manage. And this then impacts on our relationship. So that is the focus of our conversation. How can managing your anger improve relationships? I'm Noreen Daly, and this is Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships. And with me is Dr. Janet Walters, a licensed counseling psychologist and the director for the Counselling and Psychological Services Center at Northern Caribbean University. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Before we get into answering the question, though, if you had to define anger, how would you define anger?
I'm going to give it in layman's term.
Okay.
So anger is an emotion that is expressed. It can be explosive.
Okay.
It can be silent.
Mm-hmm.
It can be contributed as a result of something that has happened.
Okay.
Whether it is internal, external, and so it is an emotion, and if not rightly,
if not controlled or managed,
if not controlled, yes, it can become a raging time for an individual.
Okay. So how can we then manage our anger to improve our relationships?
Wow, that is one of the things that do affect relationship. And I'm going to focus a little bit more on intimate relationship, because most times this is where we see this is happening, and family members do pattern what is happening in intimate relationship. And so one of the things that anger does to any relationship is to erode the relationship if it is not dealt with properly. Mm-hmm. Okay. So for example, when a spouse spout out anger words, yeah? And so if you attack with criticism, your partner will more likely be defensive and may blame you right away. Yeah? Mm-hmm. There's not really a conversation. Sometimes it becomes a one-way discussion. Well, it couldn't be a discussion
if it's one way, but
yes. Mm-hmm. A monologue.
Yes,
yeah?
yes. Mm-hmm.
And so when one person is angry with the other, or maybe not with that person, you can't think too straight. Mm-hmm. The other person is trying to conceptualize what is really happening. What did I do? Mm-hmm. So if you're insecure as a partner, you're gonna, what did I do? How did I contribute to my partner being angry? Mm-hmm. And it could be something external. It could be somebody bad drive that person on the road, or something happened outside. Or it could be internal, meaning that it could be something that might be affecting the person as an individual. Maybe I don't feel good about what is happening in my current relationship. Or there might be some problem and I didn't know how to vent. So I just vent it on the next person. And the thing is, we do that,
Yes.
And I say we because for many of us, the persons we love are the persons we most likely shout and hurt at. Yes. And so anger can be so explosive as it so persons can get physical. When you're angry, you're not in control of your own mind. Can I say that? Your own mind. So you're becoming irrational. You're saying something that if you had thought about it before you said it, you would not have said it. And so it goes out there. You can't take it back. And you say when you're angry, I hate you because. And the person, but what, you hate me all along?
Yeah.
I remember reading something that Freud said. He says that nothing slips out of our mouth It is what we have in our head. So when you're angry, you notice that some things will come out that you would not normally would have said. So when you think about it, you have it there. But when you get angry, you said, why did I say this? I shouldn't have said this. But it's already gone out there. So it erodes the relationship. When it gets out of control, as I said, it can become physical. How do you control someone who is in a rage? Because when you're in a rage, you're out of control of your normal senses. And so the fight or flight situation you're in, you're ready to fight, the adrenaline rush. And so you do things that you would not have normally done ordinarily. And if you're becoming explosive all the time, it means that there's something that needs to be dealt with.
Yes.
And your partner cannot help you to deal with it if you're not sitting to have a conversation. So it goes back to the whole thing. How do we communicate with someone, whether in a relationship, whether it's in a family? How do we communicate with our persons? Yeah. So we need to understand the tone at which we use. If I start quarreling with you, what's the more likely thing that you will do?
I'm going to react and get defensive.
Yes. You get louder, right?
Yes.
So you get louder and I get louder. And then you get louder and you start saying things, I hate you, I don't want you. And so because we have to make sure that whatever I say to you, I want to hurt you, but I want to hurt you not with my fists at the moment, but I'm going to hurt you emotionally.
Yeah.
So when you say to me, you're disgusting and I hate you and you smell. No, I'm going to say something that is going to make it worse.
Yes. Yes.
And I say something back to you. And so if for partner, if you say something bad to me in anger and you expect to come and lie beside me when we're going to sleep, it's unrealistic for someone to just say, okay, let's forget about what you just said. And it might cause a argument continues for days because nothing was resolved.
Yes.
Why did you say? So I'm going to give you an example. I remember one evening I came home and I was so upset, and not in a raging sort of way, but I was really upset. And something happened on the road and I was just tired, and I was just angry that evening. And I came home and my husband saw me and he said, what happened? And I was like, really wanted to shout at him. And he said to me, it's okay. I went into my room, he closed the door, he gave me a cup of tea, and I said, we talk later on. That's all he said. It took him 25 years to really learn to understand the whole art of not arguing with someone who was upset, especially me, his wife. And he left me there for an hour, and I was steaming, but he refused to speak to me until I was cool enough. And it was after I, feel calm, and so I didn't remember what it is I was angry about. I was upset about. But he knew then. And so if you don't know your partner well enough, so if you understand, something is wrong, all right. So at the moment this person is upset, it's not a good time to have a discussion. And I suggest wait until the person is calm enough to say, and don't say, why are you upset with me?
Yes.
I didn't do anything. No, but the person might just need that avenue to vent at that point, but not necessarily for you to respond. And so the challenge is when we respond. And we are responding because we start taking it very personal.
I hope those who are listening recognize that what you just said doesn't necessarily apply to a man-woman relationship.
Yes, it does.
Because even in friendship, sometimes somebody will get angry and it has nothing to do with you. So sometimes you just need to step back, allow them to sort themselves out or have that alone time and then, re-engage them.
And sometimes, one of the things that will bring on anger feeling, especially and I go back to communication is so important.
It is.
When you say, you make me feel, you make me angry, you make me, you can't do that to someone. I am feeling angry because of. So when you start using the I statement, the moment you start saying you start pointing that fighting finger to say you.
Yes.
And that person sees that finger, hears that expression and says, you're talking. And so they're going to become defensive. So communication is so important. And I like what you said. Allow the person the time to just cool off.
Yes. Yes.
Can I get a moment? We'll talk later on. So when you know even your children, they come in and you say, what happened to you? Why are you throwing on the bag? And they say, Mommy, I just want to talk. And you say, you're rude. No, they just need a moment because they might say something to you and then you say, oh, you're rude. And then an argument will start.
Develops.
Yes. And so we have to be very mindful of how we interact with persons who are really upset.
Yeah. What would be some of the tips or the techniques you tell somebody to say, boy, Dr. Walters, I really think sometimes I'm not managing my anger, What are some of the, quote unquote, practical steps that you would tell somebody to help them to manage?
Know what your anger triggers are. Know what makes you angry. If you get angry when you're driving because of the traffic, leave out earlier.
Yes.
If you're angry because every time you come in and you don't like what you cook, speak to whomever and have a discussion. I would prefer so and so and so. So find out what your triggers are. And sometimes you might be angry but not able to identify exactly what your trigger might be. But you can note them.
Yes.
Or sometimes persons have to seek professional help because they might not be able to identify something that might have happened, maybe like as childhood. And so even as therapists, we were able to help persons to understand where the root of their anger might be. So if you find that you're always in a rage, you can't identify what the triggers are, but you just seem to be angry, there might be time for you to seek professional help. Yeah? And so, but sometimes persons saying, but I don't need professional help, but you're still getting angry. But we'll help you through that. So as I said, find out what your triggers are. And learn to find, to organize your thoughts. When you know what your triggers are, you feel it's coming on. So when you're going to get angry, you know what are signs and symptoms. So hands will shake, start shaking, you're sweating, the heart palpitating, things like those. You know it's coming on, and so you might have to do the calming technique. Take a deep breath, in and out, remain calm, change your thought process, run it into your mind. Okay, I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to stay calm. Drink some water, whatever it is that you need to do to stay calm until you relax. And then you identify what it is that is making me so angry.
Yes.
Then when you have identified what is making you so angry, then you can go now and say, what can I do now to reduce my anger feeling or to eliminate this thing, whatever it is. So the main thing is find out what your triggers are and how to deal with these triggers. Yeah, it's simply like if you have a headache, if you know that you are allergic to something, you don't eat it. But you shouldn't.
You shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't.
Yes. So it's the same thing. You know what your triggers are. You know what are the physical signs, meaning that the headache and so forth. So you know what they are, and then you just deal with it. And so you find out what they are. So this is what is upsetting me. I need to deal with it. Because it doesn't do well for a relationship. If there's always someone in your relationship who is always angry. And I tell you, it takes a lot of muscles for you to get angry. And so you stand a chance of bursting a blood vessel or getting a heart attack or something. Because when you reach in the rage part, if you notice that you look at some of the cartoons and the clippings, and you see the red smoke red person face is red, you see smoke coming out of the ears. You're fuming.
You're fuming.
Yes.
You've said a lot, but what is the one thing you'd want to leave with our listeners about managing anger and how this then impacts on their relationships?
Resist the urge to blame. Resist the urge to blame others for being angry. Because as I said earlier, no one makes you angry. Yeah. You make yourself angry. So resist the urge to blame, because it feels good at the moment, but it is not the wisest thing to do. So I would suggest that you don't blame others for your anger, but find out what are your triggers. And in finding out what your triggers, then you I would say attack the triggers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's use attack in quotation. Mm-hmm. Attack your triggers so that you'll be able to now see what are the things, eliminate them or reduce them, so that it doesn't create this sort of impact on your relationship. Because no one likes a home where there's always fight, whether it be verbal or physical, or anger. Persons who are angry in the relationship, nobody likes that. Most of us, if not all of us, like a peaceful home.
Thank you so much, Dr. Walters. Our topic was, how can managing your anger improve relationships? And as Dr. Walters just said, find out what are your triggers, the things that will make you angry. So attack them, then work on reducing, then work on eliminating. This was Making It Last podcast. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.